This is me unhidden, unapologetic, and authentic. As the Stoic philosopher Epicurus once said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Self-love begins when we stop trying to become someone we're not, and start nurturing who we truly are. Take the story of Sarah, a young woman who spent years trying to conform to the perfect image society imposed on her. She buried her passion for painting, believing it was unworthy compared to more practical goals. One day, exhausted by the facade, she allowed herself to pick up a paintbrush again. The colors she brought to life on the canvas reflected the vibrant parts of her soul she had long ignored by reconnecting with her authentic self. Sarah discovered a joy that no external validation could replace. Embracing her true identity became her greatest act of love, transforming what once seemed like flaws into sources of inspiration and strength. Loving yourself also means allowing yourself to play and occasionally act like a child amid the seriousness of adulthood. We often lose the joy found in simple things like dancing in the rain, laughing until our stomachs ache, or immersing ourselves in a hobby purely because it brings us happiness. These playful moments reconnect us with our human nature and remind us that life is not just about achievements, but also about experiences. Stoic philosophy reminds us to cherish the present moment, as life's uncertainties can take away even the smallest joys when you begin to love and accept yourself. A subtle yet profound transformation occurs. The need for external validation gradually fades, replaced by an inner calm that radiates outward. You become your own, an anchor unshaken by the storms of comparison or judgment. This doesn't mean complacency, it means embracing your flaws as part of your wholeness, while striving to grow, not out of shame, but out of love for yourself. As we close this chapter on self-love and acceptance, a question arises, guiding us to the next lesson. If loving yourself for who you truly are is the key to inner peace, what is stopping you from living as the person you wish to be? In the next lesson, we will confront the fear of not living and explore ways to overcome the barriers that prevent us from living a fulfilled life. Lesson number 5, fear of not. Lesson no 5, fear of not living. Living. What are you most afraid of? For some, it's death. For others, it's loneliness, failure, or even the fear of being forgotten. But have you ever paused to ask yourself, is my greatest fear that I've never truly lived? The philosopher Epicurus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. It is your attitude, your perspective, and how you act in life that determine its quality, not your lifespan or the number of breaths you take. So instead of fearing death, ask yourself, am I truly living? We often confuse living with existing. Are you living or merely existing through soulless, repetitive days? Life is not measured by the number of years you survive, but by the quality of the moments you live. If your mind is shackled by negative thoughts, if you allow uncontrollable circumstances to dominate your emotions, then even with your heart beating, you haven't truly lived. Thoughts shape your soul and mindset. A positive, free, and resilient mindset is the key to unlocking the door to a life truly worth living. Let's take an example from the story of Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychologist and Holocaust survivor. Despite being imprisoned in a concentration camp where he lost both his family and his freedom, Frankl refused to let despair dominate his soul. Instead, he found meaning in suffering and focused on positive thoughts to keep his mind resilient. This mindset helped him overcome adversity and later inspired millions through his book Man's Search for Meaning. This clearly illustrates one principle: the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Before we move on to the next lesson about perspectives on loneliness and success, may I ask you a small favor? If you're enjoying what you've learned so far and have a smile on your face right now, hit that like button. And hey, if you haven't done it yet, don't forget to subscribe too. Why? Because when you like and subscribe, you're telling YouTube, hey, this content is awesome. And that helps spread these positive vibes to more people who might need a little uplift. Just like you, let's share the joy and make sure more people can join us on this journey of self-improvement and positivity. Are you ready to explore a fresh perspective on loneliness and success? Let's continue this journey together. Lesson number 6, Perspective on Loneliness. And lesson number 6, Perspective on Loneliness and Success. Success in a world full of noise and constant connectivity. Loneliness is often misunderstood. People assume that being alone equates to being lonely, and that success is merely about reaching the pinnacle. But life, as the Stoic philosophers have taught, is far more complex. Seneca once said peace begins with understanding that other people's opinions are just their opinions. Master this and you'll never be the same again. Lesson number 8, Independence. Lesson number 8, Independence and Motivation. And motivation. Imagine you are standing before a great opportunity, a job you've always dreamed of, a long-cherished aspiration, or a relationship you deeply value. Yet, instead of seizing it, you hesitate. Waiting for someone's permission, guidance, or validation, that moment slips away, and with it a part of your potential fades. Independence is the antidote to this paralysis. It teaches you to act without seeking external approval and to seize the moment before it turns into regret. This approach to autonomy is closely tied to how we perceive envy. Too often, envy becomes a toxic emotion that erodes our self-confidence. But what if you viewed envy as a signal, a reminder of what you desire but have yet to achieve? If your colleague gets promoted, your neighbor buys a house, or your friend succeeds in business, don't let envy pull you down instead. Let it ignite your motivation to rise higher. Stoic philosophers would advise you to redirect these emotions, transforming jealousy into energy for self-improvement. Here's a practical illustration, Mia. A young graphic designer used to feel frustrated while scrolling through her social media feed post after post. She saw friends launching creative projects, gaining recognition, and building impressive portfolios. For a while, envy made her feel inadequate, but one day she changed her perspective. She analyzed what made their work stand out, identified gaps in her own skills, and invested in a new design course. A year later, Mia's designs were showcased in exhibitions, and envy had become a distant memory. Independence and motivation, when combined, create a powerful cycle of self-improvement. By taking charge of your path and channeling emotions positively, you transform obstacles into opportunities and envy into inspiration. Life no longer happens to you. It becomes something you actively shape. As we move on to the next lesson, reflect on this. Independent helps you face challenges, but your attitude toward those challenges determines the outcome. Challenges like stones in a stream can either block your path or refine you. Are you ready to see challenges not as enemies but as allies in your journey to becoming the best version of yourself? Let's explore this further in lesson number 9, Attitude towards Challenges. Lesson 9, Attitude towards Challenges. Imagine on a morning filled with anticipation, you meticulously prepare for an important presentation at work. Everything seems perfect until the projector breaks. Midway, forcing you to pause your presentation, a wave of tension rises, and you're faced with two choices: panic and blame the circumstances, or stay calm and turn the mishap into an opportunity to showcase your adaptability. This is the decisive moment where your attitude directly confronts the challenge. Attitude towards challenges is not just theoretical, but central to how we live and face uncertainties. As the Stoic philosopher Epicurus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." Life's challenges, big or small, are events beyond our direct control. You can't fix the broken projector, but you can change how you respond to the situation. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that it is our attitude, not the circumstances, that determines the outcome. When you choose to remain calm in the face of adversity, you not only gain control over your emotions, but also demonstrate a commendable quality, self-respect, and self-mastery. A positive attitude allows you to view challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask yourself, "What can I do to turn this to my advantage?" Conversely, negative attitudes such as resentment or discouragement not only rob you of the opportunity to act, but also prolong feelings of helplessness. People who dwell in the vortex of negativity often miss the valuable lessons that challenges bring. Your story, whether one of success or failure, is shaped not by what happens, but by how you write it. When you realize this, you leave the presentation room not with a sense of disappointment over the projector malfunction, but with pride for how well you improvised when a mishap occurs. Instead of panicking, you calmly ask the audience to pause for a moment. As you adjust with flexibility, you use body language and storytelling skills to convey your ideas. Instead of relying entirely on visuals, you even add a touch of humor, saying, "Perhaps this is the universe's way of reminding us that great stories don't need technology." Your calm demeanor and smart handling not only help you maintain the audience's attention, but also earn their admiration for your ability to adapt when your presentation ends. The entire room bursts into applause. You leave the room carrying confidence and pride for turning a challenge into an opportunity to shine.